Hey guys, it's Jai here. Today I thought just make another video. I haven't made one of these in a while, where I just talk to you guys. I feel like a lot of people have been like wanting like a talk. A lot of people have asked me recently, especially on streams. Just for a little chill talk. Just to talk about like little subjects, just a lot more mellow, a lot more chill compared to like all these streams. Um, Today I really want to talk about like relationships and stuff. The relationships like varying between friends and you know, like those intimate relationships. A lot of people have asked questions on stream and stuff, and I've always like thought it was an interesting topic to talk about, but never really knew how to like approach it. And yeah, well, I thought I'd approach it a bit differently today. Just like on top of that, if you feel like it, just please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I don't post many of these very often. This is just a very on occasion. Just a quick update with life. Things have been good, especially in the Twitch stuff. I've been averaging, 40 viewers by myself, which is pretty impressive. Met a lot of cool people. I'm very, very, very fortunate. Um, Been upset at the moment. It's not like the upset like to be concerned about, but it's like just to feel a bit lost. Just trying to figure out myself. Find the just do what I need to do. It's look, it's part of life, and can't be happy all the time. Anyway, hopefully talking about like this little niche topic might be interesting enough for me to feel a bit better. Anyway, on the topic of relationships, the main relationship question I get asked on stream every day is, Jai, I like this person, should I ask them out? Now, this is a question that it definitely it varies person to person, and that's the hard thing and the hard reality. I can't give you ever a straight answer if you should ask or if you shouldn't ask that person. I can't guarantee a success rate. I don't know this person, and I most likely don't know you. Not to an extent where I could tell you, how things are going, if things would be alright. But general advice, like, I think a lot of people overlook and misinterpret, like, when someone's just being nice, or like if someone's just like being a friend, they misinterpret those feelings, and they misinterpret them for like potential love, and love is a big word, and it should be used sparingly. I find, if you're like before a relationship, even saying love into a relationship, usually you should wait a little bit unless you're absolutely certain that you're going to be there for a long time. Realistically, most of the people that ask these questions are very young. Most of the time, even like when there's older people who ask these questions, it's more or less, it's just confusion. You haven't had that like experience. In my life, I've had a couple of relationships, some good, some bad. Do I regret any of them? Not really. I mean, I feel like to regret having like an experience meeting people, going through it, is it a waste of time? Probably. But like, as long as you take something away from it, I feel like you didn't waste time. I think a lot of people look at like relationships and stuff. Of course, there's a lot of traumatic ones. A lot of people do some fucked up things in this world. And you can't account for everyone. But I definitely think that you should most of the time. Your story is built up on like what your experiences around you. It's all character development. That's what I write things off, especially when they're so traumatic. I came out of a toxic relationship a couple months ago. I won't go too much into it because it's private, and I feel like this is another thing as well I wanted to mention, like especially with relationships. Sometimes it's better to keep like a relationship off the internet. There's a lot of mean people out there, and they'll like, they try to like sabotage. Sometimes it isn't the best. As well, it puts an unnecessary pressure on a relationship. People get into your business. You can't live your life. And experience things for yourself without other people sticking their nose in your business. I know personally, especially being a Twitch streamer or even like a YouTuber or content creator in general, the amount of people that ask the question all the time and they're so involved with you, it's that parasocial relationship. And that's the thing, look, parasocial relationships aren't bad. I feel it's human nature. I feel like a lot of people are out there very lost, and they have no one else to talk to, and you grow this bond with this streamer, especially if they're the one person to talk to at night. I feel like it's hard, and it all comes with knowing your place in a bit. I figure in saying that So this is, by the way, not edited at all. So when you hear like a pause or something, this is literally just me thinking and talking, and like this is all again recorded live as I'm walking around a Minecraft world. I feel like this is the best way for me to, distract myself while talking about such a topic. Um, I've accidentally, hardwired the content creation grind in my brain, and this is the one that's keeping me occupied. But anyway, back on the topic of like relationships. I feel like the best question, so the question that is mainly asked, which is, should I ask this person out, or am I ready for this, or do I love this person? I think the main things you should think of, especially in such a scenario, is, hey, is this person a friend, or are they like, do you see a future with them? Do you share these qualities? Do you reciprocate the same feelings that, you both wonder? I genuinely, like, the amount of times I've been rejected in primary and high school, it's definitely scary. Rejection, I joke around and say rejection's fun, but rejection at the start is like the most heartbreaking thing you could ever have. Nothing hurts more than putting all your effort and all your eggs into one basket and then losing it all. That's the hard thing about reality. Life is about rejection. Every time you get rejected, you get back up on your feet. It's all about resilience. It's hard to find. It's hard to learn in this world, in this day and age. You see a lot of people succeed around you, and it becomes a perspective that, hey, look, well, this person succeeded, why didn't I? 100% of the time, when you get rejected, the feelings are overwhelmingly sad. And, I relate with that. I can't say that I don't feel the same if I'm ever rejected, but, I know now that I have a different overview and overlook on being rejected compared to what I used to. I know currently, I'm in a happy relationship. I feel like I was expecting the worst, which definitely pulled, an interesting character out of me. I've never cried so much in my life, especially this year. This is my first year out of school. I didn't go into uni like everyone else because I was scared. I didn't want to get stuck in a uni loop where I don't know where I want to go. Everyone's pushing me into this one spot. This added stress and pressure that is absolutely phenomenal. I won't go too much into this because I kind of want to talk about this in another video. But again, with that added stress, it's hard to determine, if you like someone. Most of the time, the people that do ask these questions, they're mostly at school and stuff. And the biggest thing I can say is that, especially with a school-based relationship, they don't last. Majority of the time, I feel like that's because the only the only thing that you have, like the similarities, you guys go to the same school. You sit in the math class together. Apart from that, your interests vary to a degree where you can't relate with that person. That's a sad reality. Not everyone's built for everyone. And to find your one is like such a task. It's not an easy task by any means. It takes time and effort, and you have to like figure yourself out to a degree. And I'm gonna be honest with you, no one's gonna figure themselves out. But in the end, you get a bit more comfortable, especially the more you do something. I feel like the biggest advice I could ever give is, don't give up in the way of like, stopping wanting to get into a relationship, because I do think like it's all worth the experience. I think if you don't have that experience, you lack in something that a lot of people don't have, and when you have that experience, you build up this like social like charisma that not a lot of people have, and that's what I believe as well in this day and age. Having this charisma is very important. I find the struggle that a lot of people say to me is like, oh, this person, I asked them out. This was an example on stream the other day. But hey, look, I asked this person out, and their exact quote was, and they were like, oh, I like this other person, but if you asked me again in a couple of days, I'd decide better. That was direct quote from Twitch chat, which I have pulled up. Now, to me, at that point, this is when you have to understand, it's not worth the travel. You're not going to reciprocate that same feeling back that you have feelings you have for this person is definitely not going to be the same as what this person has for you. They have such little feelings for you. Maybe they aren't developed yet. But in saying that, in my honest opinion, I wouldn't pursue it. I feel like at that rate, if you don't have a person that, reciprocates that same feeling back, or has like this other person in their mind. You're just a side chick to them, and that's the hard reality as well. Everyone likes someone else before you eventually like each other. It's very rare when you guys are like, oh well, we both like each other. When that happens, it's such an astronomical event. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does happen, it does happen. I do think to be very easy on that. Don't overcomplicate it. If you overcomplicate it, you wouldn't get into a relationship, because realistically, for example, I could like this one person, the other person could like someone else, but this person only doesn't like me because they don't know. Realistically, what a lot of people fail to see is that everyone's human. Everyone's kind of going through the same shit, and I think that's what's been opened in my eyes this year, especially with everyone going in the same shit. It's kind of become this. I feel like I've had this overwhelming view of just seeing that it's less scary, the world, as soon as you realize everyone goes through this. And especially with a world that's ever changing, with jobs and like scary AI and wars, it's a lot of pressure, and I can see why. Now, I think if you're one of the lucky few, you have that one person that you like, and you go confess to them, and they say yes. I know from personal experience that time that they say yes, it's almost like a what moment. The only way I can describe it is, especially what happened with me, was it was over a dinner. We had onion rings, and never in my life have I ever just like sat there, put all my emotions towards this one person, because I was expecting the absolute worst. I throughout like primary and high school, I was extremely bullied. I had big teeth. My adult teeth came through first, my front ones, and I remember one comment that really stuck to me was rabbit face, or like rabbit teeth, and it was very, very daunting to hear that at such a young age. On top of that, I was definitely, I wasn't the most attractive, and that's the thing, like, I've never accepted the fact that I'm, like, the most attractive. I don't think that is a thing I'll ever, I don't feel like that's me. I don't want to live the reality and, like, have the harsh consequences of having to be attractive. I might look good to some people 100%, but I don't think I'm ever going to be, I'm not going to put in the effort to be the most attractive, because realistically, why am I putting that effort in when I only like that one person? If I only have to look that one way for that one person, that's all I need to do. Anyway, because of that, it's kind of put in like a false, a false sense of, I don't care that much anymore. It was definitely the bullying. I don't think bullying is a good thing, but the bullying definitely, humbled me out. It definitely, it caused me to realize, looks aren't everything, 100%. And the thing is, even why worry so much about something so minimal? You could, this is like so hard to explain. I kind of want to explain this in a way which doesn't sound like every other person's advice, while also incorporating my own personal feelings. I'm really happy with me, because again, I got a bit sidetracked, but essentially in my circumstance, when I asked her out, it was over 3 days, and the second day in, because I met her previously, but the second time we've met, this is our 3 days we had together, and I kind of bottled up the feelings, and I kind of was very, I was scared to the point where I probably wasn't going to do it. And the only thing that caused me to do it was, it kind of needed that little start and effort, which was, if I don't fucking do this now, I'm losing a chance. This could be like my only chance to do it. It's the perfect time. It was over fucking onion rings. That hell. I have never had better onion rings except on that day, purely for like how it turned out. But in saying that as well, I think I was scared because, the feeling of rejection, you don't want to feel that. And the thing is, look, as much as you have to come accepting of rejection rather than, being used to it. It can happen a lot, but as soon as you learn to accept that it might happen, I feel like it's a bit easier. And things do happen. Some things don't work out. Even there's no perfect relationship as well. And this is what's easily, it's overlooked. There is no relationship. You can look at someone and be like, that person's in the perfect relationship, they do all the things together. Deep down, a relationship is never 50-50. At times, the analogy I like to use is the 2 cups analogy, in which that there's 2 cups. It's not sexual, of course, but there's 2 cups, okay? Both filled with water, 50% each. Sometimes that 1 cup on the left will be, 70. She's going through a hard time, and you got to be there for her, and, there's less care towards you, but, sometimes it'll be the opposite way around. Sometimes you're at your lowest point, and, she has to give you the 90 while she gets the 10, and, realistically, the only thing that sustains that is, the love you have for each other. You making the time, reinforcing the fact that you like each other. I feel like by no means I'm perfect in explaining this, and I can only explain this in a view that I can, potentially portray to an individual, especially like one of you guys. I don't know how many people are gonna watch this. This is a very long length video, and it's it's definitely not one of those ADHD videos. Fucking Subway Surfers on the bottom, but I feel like it's enough. If you're ever down, you can just sit there and just listen to this Australian guy talk to you. Anyway, back to the story. Eventually, after asking her out, I looked at her in the eyes, and she said yes. Originally, she thought I was joking, which is funny. It was the cutest thing ever, but she thought I was joking because, I must have looked funny, something, pretty normal. Anyway, I then continued to look at her in, like, absolute shock, and with the overwhelming emotions that I did or could perceive, I just cried. And that's a lot. I don't, like, in 19 years of my life, like, the time I would cry is when I didn't get that fucking toy when I was younger, then I got to, like, 13, and the only time I'd cry is if I didn't get that good score I wanted. I never really cried over a person. I never cried over a girl that I liked. I guess I just didn't feel the way that I felt with this one person. And I know I could tell definitely that I nearly made her cry with me crying. I was just so, like, that's the only way I could express the emotions. It wasn't a sad cry. It wasn't like upset cry at all. It was more or less say, like, I have all these emotions bottled up all day, and I'm finally letting them out now. And that's the thing. It was a lot, and even now it's a lot. Just tear up a bit thinking about it. I don't go a day without thinking how lucky I am. But it took a lot of everything to get here. It's a lot of pain to get to the spot where you're happy. And even then, it mightn't be perfect forever, but I'd like to think it'd be perfect forever. Look, I know deep down, I'm gonna be willing to fight for something that I like, and 100%, if something was to, be the stick in the works and end it all, I just wish the best for her. But I don't think that'll ever happen. I think I'll be happy where I am. I think I found my one. But that's the thing. In everyone's, like, journey, you'll find your one. It takes time. A lot of people who are going to be watching this are probably, like, under the age of 18, couple over, and people probably think this is a common thing as well, like, that they're wasting away. They haven't found their one yet. You've got a whole fucking life to live. The way I look at life now, especially is especially with modern medicine and everything, you're gonna live to 100. If you're gonna live to 100, why are you stressing about it? You're only 20. What percentage of that is of your life? It's 20% of your life. Then it's not a big percentage, and you're gonna eventually find that one anyway. It mightn't be perfect by any means, but I think what I realized especially is that for a relationship to work, it doesn't have to be perfect. I much prefer the imperfection of life, and it being imperfect is what makes it fun. What makes it like that morning feeling of just waking up to that TikTok, waking up to that one message being like, like a little I love you, or like just a funny TikTok with a fucking cat. Okay, the amount of fucking cat memes I get now, I've never known so many fucking cat memes. Okay, I'm sick of them. I'm joking. I fucking love them, but no, like it's like I didn't realize how perfect imperfection was to me, and I realized something else very deep, which was the debate which is constantly said to everyone is that nothing in life is perfect. But I realize, and I would like to debate against that, and would like to debate that, hey, look, nothing in life is perfect to everyone, but rather perfect in the eyes of the perceiver. You know, I definitely think, perfection is perceived by an individual in a way that, sometimes it will, like, for example, something perfect to me that meets all my standards, all the things that make me happy, isn't going to be the same for you. You know, I'm a simple man, of course, but no, as simple as I am, emotions are complicated. Nothing can replicate an emotion that you're feeling unless, you can be everyone put through the same fucking circumstance. Everyone's going to react differently, and what's perfect to you is what's sentimental, and that's what I feel like. I feel like perfect is what you realize and you come to be and understand. I feel like this is a long-winded response to like some sort of small question. You could be like, hey, look, this relationship, I could easily tell you, no, that's not going to work. But realistically, this is a big thing for you to decide. And it's a big thing even for me to decide. In my current circumstance, I will say, especially in the world we live in now, long distance is like such a common, it's such a common thing to, to have. Sometimes you'll meet that person that's like, 6 hours away. Sometimes they're 12 hours away. Sometimes you will only see them every 3 months. Sometimes you will live next door. That fuck, dude. But I realize what makes it perfect to you isn't like the fact of how far and how much time you spend together, but like the journey. Realistically, you're all fighting for the same goal, to eventually have that life together, to have that perfect thing. And it's the effort that makes it. I think the reason why I've been like not upset at all by any means, but like the reason why I've been confused or like feeling a bit mishmashy is because I've never felt this way before. And even now, I'm confused. It's not a bad confusion, but it's confused as in like, why do I deserve this? It's almost like imposter syndrome. It's almost like everything else I've ever experienced in life with that imposter syndrome that I've always felt. Realistically, I don't think that feeling will ever go away. It might subsidize, but I feel like it's better when she's around. I feel like a lot of you guys understand that too. Okay, anyone that's in a relationship, and even if you're not in a relationship, a lot of people want to get into a relationship because they're lonely. And I realize how lonely the world is nowadays. Despite it being so lonely, people fight for what they need though, and I'm very proud of everyone that does. It's so easy to give up, sit down and just give up, and that's the sad reality about it. You can sit down, give up, lay in your bed all day. Are you realistically going to get anywhere? I think it's so impressive to be able to see a person like you fight for like something. It's, if that's for grades, if that's for a relationship, if that's, don't be that cringe guy that asks out the same girl 3 times in a year. Just give up, move on. But like, if you fight for just like yourself to have the happy life, that's what you should be fighting for. I will say the biggest regret a man could ever have is embarrassing himself, especially in a relationship scenario. And I know there's a lot of people out there who feel awkward, and I get that. But as long as you don't do that thing where you just like make it awkward by making them feel shit, you should be fine. I've had my fair share of circumstances, where I thought like, main character movie moment, I gotta ask out this person, blah blah blah. It's gonna be like a Disney. It's not like a Disney movie at all. Realistically, you make it how you want to be. Don't have it predefined by a set preset. Fucking Disney's not gonna do shit. You'll be fine. I will say, if I could leave you with one piece of information tonight, what's tonight for me? It's like 11:46 at night, and I started this probably like 24 minutes ago on the dot. I can see you, Mr. OBS. If I was to leave you one piece of information, is even though I probably don't know who you are listening right now, I might know you. I'm proud of you. For one, you got this far to listen to me ramble enough, but you also like, I think you care about yourself enough, and you put in the effort that not a lot of people can see. Deep down you understand that that effort that you're putting in. You just want to have a happy life. You want to make that one person proud. If it's your parents, if it's your family, if it's your friend, if it's your girlfriend, if it's your boyfriend, even if it's, I know I've talked a lot about it. If it's your girlfriend, but that's because it's mainly from perspective. But it is very like that's from my perspective, but I feel like it very much fits in most, reasoning. I feel like I'm gonna like touch on this a bit as well, so it's it's understandable and relatable, but I feel like everyone feels the same. I don't feel like you should like I know I've been labeled as just girlfriend, but that's because that's what that's what I am. Like I am straight, and but I'm an ally, and I very much respect everyone. But the thing is, like, look, I can't, like, I can only give you my perspective. It's very much applicable in like all your other cases, but I will say, like, as much as like everyone of us here, like, probably listening to this, I'm very proud of every one of you guys. You put in that effort, you put in that hard grind, for that one thing. And fuck, dude, even if you drop that like uni course, dude, good job. Like you're doing something. You haven't lost yet. It's a game of life. I will say though, like, I think one thing that I aim for, which I feel like could be helpful for other people, is try to make one person smile a day. If you're depressed, it definitely makes you feel a lot happier. I promise you, that feeling of making that one person smile, or making another person smile, even if it's a friend relationship. Because I wanted to touch on this as well a bit. This is going to be a very long-winded video. I'm so sorry. I hope you don't fall asleep too much. But in the terms of a friendship, I feel like that as well. I've learnt the value of a friendship. The value of a friendship was and is, being there for that one person. I feel like, as much as I've explained previously how I'm happy with my my intimate relationship, I've lost a lot of friends, both to people passing away, to both just people moving on with life. People have their own lives now. They go through their own things. That's 100% fine. People work, people fucking stream, people do their thing. The saddest thing is, having to learn to be alone and learn how lonely life can be. I feel like something I've excelled at especially is, learning to be alone, because that's how I spend most of my time now. It's work, it's stream, and it's, apart from that, on the days off, it's getting ready for working and streaming again. It sounds like a grind. It is a grind, but working up towards something better. I feel like the biggest thing I regret is cutting off so many people. But I feel like it's also humbled me to make me understand such a view. I feel like a lot of people are lost because they always say, like, I don't have any friends. I 100% understand that feeling, especially now. Previously, especially at school, I had a lot of friends. I feel like, I classified them as a lot of friends. Realistically, they could have hated me. It wouldn't bother me anyway. I only had to see them at school. I feel like the big thing that, I wish I did different was make time, rather than focusing so much on these goals that I have, is also make time for the others. Realistically, I've put so much time and effort into some things, but of course, you can't do everything. Out of the 24 hours in a day, majority of it's spent like sleeping. You wake up, you do your chores and shit, you work, you might get home, relax, message that person. Sometimes you might see friends. It becomes very irregular though. I think the hard reality was accepting the fact that you're going to be spending a lot of time alone, and if not, you'll be like up your family's necks or something. It's pissing people off. That's fine. It's all part of it. And this thing, even tonight, with how busy it's been, or like how hectic it's been, I feel like in my personal experience, do I regret losing those friends? Yes. Do I feel like it's taught me a lesson? Yes. Do I think I'll make more friends? Yes. And this all comes under, your own self-worth and yourself. You have to perceive yourself in a positive way and have that positive energy so you can make friends. Otherwise, you're going to be making, in my opinion, if I've ever made a friend and, you've only shared a negative view with them, like, for example, you can bond with someone over something negative. But if you're only negative and your friends are only negative and you're only negative, your life's gonna be shit. I apologize. Sometimes it's hard, and that's the thing as well. This is a big thing I learned with letting go. I think despite me losing my closest friends, I also lost the people who were toxic in my life, and that's a big relationship I wanted to lose. It was those people who preyed on downfall, who behind my back would, speak shit. But of course, yeah, I wouldn't. Do I hate them? No, I don't hate people. I feel like I dislike how one might put themselves in this world and perceive themselves, cause issues with other people. But I feel like hate is such a strong word. Hating someone has to be this blood boiling feeling of this person has caused physical pain to myself or family, or emotional pain to someone that I care about the most. I feel like I don't like to have this hate because it's a waste of energy. I only have so much energy to have in a day, and I can subsidize that with caffeine. But realistically, it's that's a completely unhealthy habit to have. That's a I realize it as well. I realize how much caffeine has played a role in, especially this year. Not for as much study load and shit like that, but more or less doing everything at once. Sometimes to not feel that tiredness, and to get that happiness is to do more stuff. I'm a workaholic by nature, apparently. All my mods tell me otherwise. They tell me that I am. I don't take a break. I hate taking breaks. Breaks make me feel like it's not I've got responsibility, but it feels like I'm falling behind. I feel like a lot of people feel that as well. The feeling of falling behind, not being better than anyone else. I know a lot of people struggling, especially that want to be the best, who compare themselves to people, which I think comparing can it can influence. This is still on the topic of friends, by the way. I'm so sorry. I'm rambling, and it's 32 minutes in. If you're still here, I'm surprised, but hey, you're doing a good job. I won't make this too much longer. But I feel like what I realized is, especially, my big thing that I overcame was comparing myself to other people. Now, comparing can be done in a positive way to improve, but comparing can also be done in a negative way, in the terms of money, in the terms of, skill. I feel like everyone's individually great at their own things, and they all have skills in different ways. If that, I'm going to put this in a way that I can understand because that's my perspective, but if I'm good at my job, I'm really good at stocking shelves, I'm really good at fucking talking to customers. Let's say, for example, subject A, we'll name him Mac. Mac fucking hates talking to customers, hates stocking shelves, but he loves doing the computer shit. He compares himself to the better, to the person who likes two things. Not the better person, but the person who likes two things. And he's like, well, shit, how come I can't be like this one person? How can I not have what this one person has? Despite realizing that, hey, I wish I had what Mac has. And that's a big thing I realized as well, is everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's always comparing, and that's really funny. My OBS crashed. I think I was on the topic of I was just saying, stop comparing yourself to people so much. You are an individual, and you should be comparing yourself to your own goals. And it's a hard thing to be told, and it's hard for people to digest. 100%. And that's the thing. Look, it's so easy to compare yourself to someone else, and I 100% understand why you do that. As soon as you stop doing that and you just focus on yourself, you've broken your own goals, your own little thing. I promise you, life's so much easier and a lot more fun. It's very toxic to compare yourself to someone else, because realistically, you will never be like that other person, if it's for money or for more. Anyway, in saying that, I might end this here anyway. I might come back on this topic. Might make a bit more. Might talk a bit more. I feel like this is just a nice little, just a little ramble that you can listen to while you're falling asleep. I appreciate every one of you, and I appreciate, I'm very fortunate to have what I have at the moment, especially with all the support and all the people who care at the moment. I'm very thankful, and I'd just like to. I've never felt this way before. From both the support and the care that I've had to the people who care about me, to the people who are my mods, and to the people who are a bit more. I love everyone, and I'm very, very lucky. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a lovely night, guys. Good night.